Follow the money.
That's what I always say. You always follow the money.
Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Pauly Howard on VSiN.
Here we go. Welcome in. It is Follow the Money on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Mitch Moss, along with Pauly Howard. We are live today, as always, on YouTube TV, Sirius XM Channel 158. You can listen to some of our great affiliates across the country as well on a daily basis. Big program lined up over the next 3 hours, including Thomas Gable from the Borgata back in Atlantic City coming up in 30 minutes. I cannot imagine how much money changed hands if you think about where he's located, right next to Philadelphia, with the ending in that Rams-Eagles game on Sunday.
I can't wait to ask Derek about it. That is the ultimate, I wish I was in a sportsbook moment of that finish.
Yep.
And all the people that were on the Rams are in a sick beat. It was absolute bedlam.
And they get pounded there like every week, every year on the Eagles. So you can imagine what that was like. We'll talk to him in 30 minutes. By the way, watching Monday Night Football last night, Pauly, when you run down win-lose in 45 minutes, I have a comp. I think I isolated, actually, other people I was with watching the game last night. They kicked this around. I think they have identified the one true NFL game that can comp. It would be a good comp to this. I'll tell you that coming up in 45 minutes.
Looking forward to it. It's not throwing the ball backwards, lateral, and the team scoops it up and scores, which has happened 20 times at least. I've lost 5 of them alone like that.
Yeah.
Because that was happening every week, college and pro for a stretch, when we used to do the show from the South Point. It was happening on a regular basis, especially in prime time games.
And then you would lose like the final leg of a parlay on the no defensive special teams touchdown.
I know. I couldn't believe it cost me a 7-teamer one time. Oh. I'm like, it was that Eagle-Washington game, Kansas City-Washington. It happened in Bedlam one year. I mean, it was happening every frickin' week.
I'll give you a hint, by the way. When I tell you this horrific beat, it was in the Super Bowl. It was in the Super Bowl. And from what I understand, the most successful sports bettor of all time was on that game.
I thought you were going to go Gary Anderson.
Missing the kick?
No. 2000 NFC title game. Bet his props under.
Oh.
But the Vikings got shut out, and he didn't kick off, so he never got on the field. So it's no action. It's no action. He didn't get on the field. Yeah, nothing. Yeah, that's a good one.
Also, Paul Stone on the program, college football, and Ryder Cup. He loves betting golf. Ryder Cup is this week. We'll ask him how he bet at this point, and then Derek's going to come up as well. Well, I mean, everything I said about the Ravens yesterday on the show and on primetime, the exact opposite happened. And Glenn Clark, who came on the program yesterday, who covers the Ravens of Baltimore, had a great point, and he said, over everything, because the Ravens will absolutely miss the players defensively who are not in the game last night. And my God, did they ever. Mm-hmm. Detroit did whatever they wanted. And nothing fluky about that last night for 2 straight weeks with this Detroit offense. And the fact that they went on those long drives, held their first 4 touchdown drives, as I tweeted out during the game, I'm like, 60-plus yards. 2 of them were 95-plus yards against the Ravens in prime time on the road against Baltimore. And also, like, the way it was really working again last night with getting guys wide open across the middle of the field, the 1-2 combination there with Gibbs and Montgomery, and that play that they had after a timeout on 4th and goal where they gave it to Amon-Ra St. Brown in the backfield, and then he pitches it to Gibbs. Ben Johnson, who? They're okay.
Yep.
They don't need Ben Johnson.
Yep.
So there you go. That team has been ridiculous now for 2 straight weeks, and here's what I would love to see. I want to see the Lions play at Lambeau this week, the game that we got in week 1 already. I'm saying that because that was their preseason game.
Well, or Green Bay's just ridiculous defensively.
I think, yeah, sure. But, that's possible.
Uh-huh. Henry can't explain what he's doing. The fumble in every game. I couldn't believe the 1st and goal from the 3 and what transpired.
Disgusting.
Henry, no gain. Henry, 2 yards. And then the sack fumble on 4th down. But the Lions, for the 2nd week in a row, played a perfect game. They mentioned on the broadcast that the last time the Ravens gave up a 95-yard-plus drive, and the Lions were able to do it twice, to gash them on the ground like that. But they don't turn it over. They don't allow a sack. They were great on 4th down. And then the Ravens have the big fumble, allow 7 sacks, and missed a ton of tackles. So you got to be concerned about the defense. But the other thing is this is a frustrating team with all the talent, and they should be the best team in the league on paper, and it doesn't doesn't carry over to the playoffs, and maybe they lose 5-6 games this year, which I can't believe. It's it's blowing week one, and then what happened here, you got to get this fixed defensively. You can't give up that many points.
No, and they'll get better when they get guys back, obviously, that were banged up and not in the game last night. I'm also way concerned about the Derrick Henry fumbling problem now.
Yeah.
You got to be.
Yeah.
And so you hinted at it there. What do you make of Harbaugh overall as a head coach? I mean, the big game stuff that you talked about it was right after they lost the game against Buffalo. They gave the game away. You're like, I can't trust this guy.
And the double-digit leads.
Sure.
Blowing those all the time. Yeah. It's... he's a good coach, but he makes some bizarre decisions. And I know when you're going to gamble and play the analytics game, some are going to work, some aren't.
Right.
But it's just, I think he's had a bad run of luck with the turnovers, but for whatever reason, they beat themselves in January every single year, with the exception of when everyone got Flacco fever, and that team wasn't that good.
Right.
But he turned into Joe Montana for a month.
So then, Pauly, think about this. The 1-2 Ravens are about a 3-point favorite on the road at the 1-2 Chiefs this week. By the way, that could be 2-1 versus 0-3. Regardless, here we are. Have you seen? So that's a losable game for Baltimore. They could be 1-3. Yeah. The loser is going to be 1-3. Yeah. Have you looked at division prices today?
I looked. Yeah, it's not even close on paper. I mean, Baltimore should win this game comfortably, but that's why they play the games.
Yeah, and Baltimore here at Circa, they're minus 370 to win their division.
Oh God!
And they could go 1-3, but that tells you what the books think of. Well, what Circa thinks of the competition in the AFC North.
Yeah. Well, this happened last year too. They were bad defensively, and they fixed it, and they were awesome. And then, you know what happened? They beat themselves, and it also doesn't make any sense. Andrews is sure-handed, and he's great last night.
Yep.
But when you need him, he fumbles and he drops a gimme. They choke. That's just the best way to say it. They beat themselves, and weird stuff happens in January. But now they're still going to make the playoffs. But home field's a big deal, and that's why the Bills are gunning for it. The Bills are talking about it. They got to get the 1 seed. They might have to hold off the Chargers too. But the Ravens are really behind the 8 ball here, where they're going to have to go win probably two big games on the road in January, and I don't like their chances. Not to mention we haven't even brought up Lamar, which I love Lamar, but he's another one.
Yeah.
Would you count on this guy? Can you trust him to win a big game in January? Because weird stuff happens to him too.
Here's the crazy part about that division number, by the way. So it was either late August / early September. I'm looking at the Ravens, like at several different sports books. And I think Circa had the lowest number on Baltimore at the time at like minus 149 to win the division. And now fast forward to today, and they have 2 losses. Could be a third one coming up. And yet that number has moved more than $2. They're just basically telling you, I don't care if they lose to KC because we've adjusted like our priors on the other teams here. Like, they're clearly not buying the Steelers, and I don't think anybody should at this point. The Joe Burrow injury is massive, and then the Browns, obviously, they should be 0-3, never should have defeated the Packers, but now they get the Lions. By the way, what does that look like now for the Lions offense to play the back-to-back defenses that they have played in Chicago, eviscerated them, did the same thing to Baltimore last night, and now they get a Browns defense that would be the comp to Green Bay that they faced in week 1.
Right. This will be a good test. I want to see what happens through the air. I can't imagine they get anything on the ground. But I was shocked by the ease and just the missed tackles and how easy it was for Detroit to move it on them on the ground, and what Montgomery did. But
way too easy.
But this is, if they're going to play perfect and look like that in the old Lions, the defense is healthy. The defense was all over the place, wreaking havoc. You're right about. I'd love to see the matchup coming up against Green Bay again, because they couldn't get a first down in that game.
No, couldn't move the ball. No,
it was ridiculous. But you got to give the Eagles their flowers too. I mean, I saw something incredible today on Twitter that when they've had Barkley, Smith, Brown, and Hurts, they're 18-0. So they won a Super Bowl before they even lost a game when they're healthy and everyone plays. And I know that doesn't look good, but they've won 19 of the last 20 games. So that was the NFC title game we should have got last year. But I can say the same thing about the Lions. They've had bad luck. They had the 49ers beat 2 years ago. They blew that, and they blew the Washington game. Goff kept turning the ball over, and they couldn't get stops. I can't kill them because they had 20 guys hurt. But
that's right. I mean, they had name tags at practice because they didn't know who they were bringing guys in like every single week down the stretch. Look, I mean, that was my team last year. I didn't want to be on them this year because their schedule, first of all, is impossible. It's the most grueling road schedule ever. That's one of the reasons why you bet the under.
I mean, look at this. They just showed it. I mean, look at what is coming up for Detroit. Look how tough this schedule is.
Well, the Bengals game looks a lot easier now.
Yeah, it does. But you go at Washington, at Philly, Packers on Thanksgiving, at the Rams, at the Vikings. I mean, there's just a tough game. You're right. The Chief game suddenly isn't that difficult either. But it's all these teams you're playing on the road that were in the playoffs and made deep runs last year.
Sure. And I hate being a year early. But, there is a pretty decent chance that my bets on Detroit last year to win the NFC and to win the Super Bowl, if they, again, I said this today on the Pod to the Futures podcast that we do with JVT every single Tuesday. Like, I can say it, I can't prove it. I think Detroit was going to win the Super Bowl last year if they stayed healthy. They were going to host Philadelphia. Now, they could lose that game, of course, but they lost everybody on defense. And if they somehow get some injury luck this year, and again, I've seen enough in the last 2 weeks. They're totally fine on off. The Ben Johnson thing is a non-story to me now. That was such an awesome display of football last night again. Mm-hmm. Back-to-back weeks.
Yep.
That's like A+ game for 8 quarters now. That's not easy to do at the NFL level.
No, you're right. Been perfection for 2 weeks. Incredible job.
But as you said, I want to see what this looks like against the Browns defense now coming up on Sunday. Totally different story than the last 2 teams that they've played. We will hit tonight's Major League Baseball card coming up next. Say what you want about the expanded playoffs, but the wild card races are phenomenal. We'll run down the numbers for you coming up on Follow the Money. It's VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
You can always tweet the show at VSiN Live, at Mitch Moss Radio, at Pauly Howard. We're getting guesses on the bad beat in the Super Bowl that I think compares to the Eagles-Rams game on Sunday. My Guys in the Desert on X says his guess, Mahomes kneel downs to go under. That was a bad one. It's not a prop, though. It was a side or a total.
Okay. I'm looking forward to it.
As soon as I bring it up, you're going to be like,
okay.
That's unbelievable.
Right.
Yep.
I'm looking forward to it.
Okay, so money on the, can you imagine this? The Cleveland Guardians, against Tarek Skubal tonight?
Damn right.
Has to be, right?
Here it comes. Here comes the biggest collapse in MLB history. A team has never blown a double-digit lead in September. How about 11-game lead? 17 days ago, an 11-game lead. 15 and a half back, July 9th. Detroit, 152 consecutive days sole possession of first place.
Oh, mamma mia.
Could miss the playoffs now. And they need Skubal in the worst way tonight. If Cleveland gets one of the 3, they win the tiebreaker. If they take 2 out of 3, they're going to win the division, obviously, because they have the tiebreaker. They'd be essentially tack on another game there, too. So Detroit has to go to Fenway to end the season. They've lost 9 of 10. Cleveland somehow has won 15 of 17. The pitching has been phenomenal. ESPN still gives Detroit an 83% chance to make the playoffs. I can't imagine what that price was a month ago.
I got it.
Okay, great.
I got division numbers here. I'll give them to you in a minute.
Cleveland, number 1 in ERA in September. Number 1 in ERA since the break. The circus with Clase, trading Bieber, everything that went down, this is impossible, improbable. How can they be in this spot? How do you bet Detroit? How do you do it? They just got swept by the Braves. And Cleveland's on fire, and they're at home, and they got Williams, and they just beat Skubal. I know there was some bullpen shenanigans there as well. But I still like their chances if they just get a game, because who knows what's going to happen with Detroit in that final series, and the Red Sox are probably going to need it in the worst way as well. But to think that they're in this situation with an 11-game lead 17 days ago is astonishing.
Well, how do you bet Detroit tonight? It's because they have the great equalizer potentially on the mound. Like Skubal, this is why, I mean, right, he's minus 4,000 to win the American League. What if he gets roughed up tonight?
Hey, you might have something there.
Crochet's still 15-1.
Yeah.
Much closer to a coin flip than the odds suggest, in my opinion.
Yep.
Regardless, you want the numbers? How far do you want me to go back? This is for the division.
Okay.
So go back to June 1st. At that time, Tigers minus $5, Guardians 14-1. July 1st, Tigers minus 3,000. Guardians 25-1, Twins 30-1. At the All-Star break, the Detroit Tigers minus 10,000.
Yeah.
The Minnesota Twins were 40-1. The Royals were 100-1. The Cleveland Guardians were 150-1.
Get out of here.
I'm on sportsoddeshistory.com.
Come on. July 8th, they had the best record in baseball. They were 59-34. Only Colorado, Minnesota, and the Angels are worse. This is to blow this. I'm going to go a step further. I think there's a good chance they miss the playoffs. Now, the Astros might have problems on this West Coast road trip. They're not playing good ball either.
No, they're not.
And you got big injuries. I don't think you can trust Javier and the guys that they're going to be throwing here. But I just think something crazy is going to happen in the final week. But to go from 59-34 and the best record, and you would miss the playoffs entirely, would just be catastrophic.
So I saw this today. Since 2012, favorites of minus 150 or bigger, in September, they win 65% of the time. That's break even, basically, after the VIG. Run line's not great, only 48% of the time. So $1.50 winning at 65% of the time. They're like, that goes back again 13, 14 years. So it's not like we've had a run of like, oh my God, these teams give it up every single year and bet the dogs. That's not exactly the case. It's pretty much right around break even. Yeah,
there's a good stuff up on DraftKings with race for October. Cleveland's $1.40 to win the series. The Red Sox are 6-1 to miss. Detroit's plus 450. Cleveland's minus 210 to make it. Houston's $1.65.
How do you think it ultimately shakes out? Give me the 6 teams right now that will make the playoffs in the American League. Well, the division winners we know.
I would say Houston's going to miss, but it's going to be close, though, with Detroit. This game is so important tonight. If Detroit loses this game, I think they miss the playoffs. Because they'll probably get swept.
Well, can you imagine what the energy is like in this game tonight?
Well, it also depends what's going on around the league. Like this Boston-Toronto game's huge.
Massive.
Because if Detroit then has to go to Fenway and the Red Sox need it, that changes everything too.
Well, and by the way, money on Giolito tonight for the Red Sox. He's taken Gossman has been, he's had some good performances lately, as has Giolito. But money on the Red Sox, I kind of agree with that. A little bit of money on the White Sox tonight. Smith takes on Heel for the Yankees. The Yankees are 2 back.
Yeah, Toronto has a tiebreaker though.
Right. Well,
but
so
yes, they're not out of this. The Yankees can. If the Yankees win, they're in, and they can still catch Toronto. Boston also has the tiebreakers over Cleveland and Houston. So they just don't do anything stupid, and you're going to make the playoffs. But Toronto, 50-25 at home. And their magic number is 3.
I think
to win the division. And you're right about Gossman, who's been so good, and Giolito's been solid as well.
I will not be surprised if the Yankees are tied with the Blue Jays for the American League East going into the weekend.
Come on.
I won't be surprised. But you said Blue Jays had the tiebreaker.
Yeah.
Because they did so well navigating those series against them when they played head-to-head. But I won't be surprised at all. No, Red Sox are game here. And the Yankees, White Sox were game. They were also like live earlier this month, so they're going to be a little bit feisty here.
Good. Okay, how about the Mets? The Pirates are awful on the road. You do have to face Skeens tomorrow, but they're 23-52 on the road. Singer's been good. It's right there for you. You're $1.30 to make the playoffs. I think it's too low. They have the tiebreaker over the Mets. The Mets are 31-44 on the road. And the Mets have lost 11 of 15. It's right there for the Reds.
Can I ask you then?
The Cubs still need this too. I mean, if you're talking about improving your position, you got to face Horton too.
So to tie in these 2 games back to back here, as we're looking at the screen, how the hell is Horton $1.08 against the Mets? And I know Peterson is going today for New York, the Metropolitans.
Okay, can I answer your question?
Yeah, of course.
He's only going to go 5 innings. It's the must-win angle with the Mets.
Yeah, they've been in a must-win spot for 3 weeks.
Yeah, the Twins. The Cubs just got swept by the Reds and couldn't hit. I don't know. I'm just trying to make the argument.
Okay, that's fine. Okay. Things can flip though very easily. Look at the Reds. They just got swept by the A's last weekend, and now they come back and they swept the Cubs.
Yeah.
Horton has been like the best pitcher in baseball. Period. Forget rookie stuff.
Yep.
Since the All-Star break.
8-1 with a 0.93.
I mean, the way that this guy is trending right now on a kind of a cheap price in the first 5.
Yep.
That looks tantalizing today.
Magic number 4. My fault with Toronto.
Okay.
But that's, How about here's the other thing. You mentioned Peterson. I mean, do you trust him? I don't. The Mets starters, the last 15 games are 1-8 with an ERA of 5.
Yeah, I don't understand this.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, and look at this. They're favored in the first 5.
Yeah. And they've done this before. In 2007, they were 7 games up with 17 to play and blew it. They were 21 games over 500 June 12th.
Yeah. Yeah, look at this, Paul. You can lay a half a run and get plus 133 with Horton in this game tonight in the first 5. Boy, oh boy.
Like that.
I'm not betting teams because it's a must-win.
Reds have
thank you.
Yep, Reds have the tiebreaker over Arizona as well. Arizona, even though they're one back, still 9-1 to make the playoffs. Again, they also have to go Ohtani, Snell, Yamamoto, King, and I think Pivetta right in a row. How about Seattle? Magic numbers 3.
They're a $3 favorite today.
Yeah, it should be higher. I'm shocked. They've won 14 of 15. They've won 20 of 23 at home. And boy, they're hitting right now, too. And they're taking on one of the worst teams in MLB history.
They can't take the Rockies lightly here.
Well,
go out. And I'd like to see, give me 2 tonight. Just end it now. Cal Raleigh can go out there and hit 2 home runs tonight, get to 60, and then just end the debate. He's the American League MVP.
ESPN.com today, they asked, it was 21-19 Judge. But there's a lot of baseball left. You can do this. Come on. Hit 2.
21-19. It's a coin flip, so there you go.
These games are awesome tonight. These are tough.
And also, do we come back now and bet the Brewers because the Padres clinched last night?
Looking at stuff online, the Padres got after it.
I believe they did, yeah.
I mean, that is, I don't like the pitcher going, though.
It's Zimmerman against Vasquez that I got.
It's Priester tomorrow. Maron, if it was Priester today, as they've won 19 straight appearances by Priester. But I'd have to go Milwaukee based on how hard the Padres celebrated. And one more tidbit, the road team is 9-1 in this Cleveland the Detroit matchup this year. It's crazy. 6-4 Cleveland head-to-head. You can save 40% on our football season special with Follow the Money. Promo code FTM. Get VSiN Pro Access. Everything we do across every sport through the Super Bowl, every best bet, every host, every guest, the betting splits, the videos, the live breakdown on the Watch app, the replays. Lock it in today, 40% off. Promo code FTM, the Mackinnon splits, the Mackinnon systems, and the prop analyzer as well. VSiN.com/subscribe.
Thomas Gable joins the program coming up next, in charge of the Borgata Racing Sportsbook in Atlantic City. How big was the swing at his book when the Eagles covered 3.5 against the Rams with that crazy finish on Sunday? We'll ask him coming up on Follow the Money. It's VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
We have some pretty major breaking news in college football. As On3 Sports has the report that Oklahoma quarterback John Mateer has suffered a thumb injury on his throwing hand, and he could miss 3 or more weeks. He was the short shot to win the Heisman Trophy.
DraftKings moved him to 20-1. Mendoza's the favorite.
Wow.
Moore's 9, Stockton's 12, along with Beck, Aguilar, and Reed 14. Jeremiah Smith 14. Oh, man.
Okay, well, this is good timing here because Thomas Gable joins the program. He's on the Progressive guest line. He is in charge of the Borgata Racing Sportsbook back in Atlantic City. Thomas, thanks for the time. Good to talk to you as always. We will get into the Eagles-Ram finish on Sunday coming up here in a minute, but when you hear that news, and you guys, obviously, you have people working in the risk room there, how do you guys adjust this with Oklahoma? What do you think of this Mateer injury news for the Sooners?
Well, being out 3 to 4 weeks, I mean, not only does it impact the Heisman, but clearly is going to impact how you look at Oklahoma here in the next few weeks, and you're going to have to adjust them and their power rating. So it's a shame. It really is a shame. I mean, the kid, as you said, was the favorite and having a heck of a year, and you hope that it's shorter than that for him, but when it's a thumb injury on the throwing hand, never a good thing.
No, never good. And I know plenty of people who either before the season or in the first couple of weeks, they were adding Oklahoma on a ton of bets, right? I mean, they were adding them to win the SEC, they were a nice plus number, I think, before the season to make the playoffs and even beyond to win the whole thing. So this changes everything.
Yeah, I mean, they've been a good story, and it's a shame because, they're right there, and you're just going to have to drop him back a little bit here now in the power ratings, and just hope that the kid can get back soon and it's not too serious.
Let me ask you this: Did you take many bets at all on Fernando Mendoza, Indiana quarterback, to win the Heisman? I know he was 35-1 before the Illinois game this past week.
Not really. There wasn't much action on him at all. So we're in very good shape with him. And, obviously after that game, he's and now with this Mateer injury, he's going to be in the spotlight moving forward.
Yeah. Who would you lose to as of right now?
I'm sorry?
Who would you lose to in the Heisman market as of right now, if anybody?
Honestly, we're in, there's some longer shots on the board that we have liability on, but there's really nobody that I foresee that we have liability on that we're going to be in trouble with. We're in good shape on that market overall.
Very good.
Yeah. Well, condolences to what happened Sunday, but I think that was a top 5. I wish I was in a sportsbook moment. I think it was the worst beat I've seen in the NFL, maybe ever. I just, to be up 19 in the third quarter. You have 2 field goals blocked. You can't convert 3rd and 1 3 times. You get a 3rd and 10, the conversion backed up. The Eagles score on 4th and goal as well. And then the impossible happens with Davis returning the blocked field goal and the Eagles cover. Take us through the swing of emotions and the handle and how much money changed hands with that decision.
Well, when I'll say this, the Rams-Eagles game was not the one that I personally was watching that intently. Obviously, it was on the main screen in the book here. We had the audio on for that game. I was more interested in the Commanders-Raiders game because that was our biggest decision of the early slate. We had a guy who put $200,000 on the Raiders first half, $200,000 on them for the game. So while I was kind of keeping tabs on all the games, the Commanders-Raiders is where most of my attention was at. And what I saw the first half and the way that the Eagles looked, I was a little surprised at how flat the offense was. And obviously after halftime, everybody kind of woke up with Jalen Hurts having a real nice second half. A.J. Brown coming off the back of a milk carton finally. Devontae Smith had some catches. And the Eagles offense finally looked formidable again. But, again, I never really assumed that the plus 3.5 would be in doubt with the Rams. So, once the Commanders pretty much had that game sealed, I walked back over into the sports book to watch a lot of these games come to a conclusion. And I'll say this for the ending of that Eagles game. That was probably the loudest I've heard the book possibly ever. It was probably 90% Eagles fans, Eagles backers, etc. And if you think about it, this was different than the Super Bowl, different than the NFC Championship. Those games were decided well in advance of the final gun. You knew the Eagles were going to win the Super Bowl throughout. This game, if you sat there and watched it as an Eagles backer, you thought you were dead and buried at halftime. The second half comes around and you start to see some glimmer of hope. Again, maybe to squeak out a win, but if you have them on the spread, it's not looking good that you're going to be able to cover 3.5. And then the Rams drive down the field and set themselves up for a more than makeable field goal to win the game. And you're also thinking at that point, your ticket is dead, including if you're on the money line in Philly, that's going to be done. And the roar when that kick was blocked, and then the improbable happening with Davis running that back for a touchdown to not only seal the victory, but to cover the 3.5, which looked absolutely impossible. I mean, it was louder than the Super Bowl or NFC Championship just because it was unexpected and it was a raw emotional outburst. But I mean, listen, you had so many things happening right around that same time, with the Jets doing the same thing, blocking a field goal attempt and running it back for a touchdown, albeit not being able to hang on to win the game there with Tampa. And then, of course, the conclusion of the Packers-Browns games. It was just an unbelievable end to the 1 p.m. slate of games on Sunday. And ultimately, what makes this league so popular, it just makes you laugh at times because you sit back and you repeat that phrase that you often hear in this business. People actually bet money on this stuff. And, it's crazy. But, in terms of the financial implications for us, we ended up a small winner on that game. And certainly there was a big swing, though, between what ended up happening and what I thought was going to happen there. Had the Rams just covered the 3.5, it certainly would have been a much better result for us. And had they won that game outright, and made that field goal at the end, would have been fantastic. But we ended up with a small win. And it really, I think, for us here in this location, that having that hook on the 3 pretty much all week is helped tremendously because, the Rams were taking some money here. They weren't being ignored. Getting the 3.5, there certainly were people who were taking the 3.5 there with Los Angeles. So in the end, it wasn't, catastrophic for us, but certainly we left a lot of money on the table there with the way that ended.
Well, can you explain with your location, obviously, and so close to Philadelphia and how popular the Eagles are? I know, by the way, they've been good now for a long, long time. Like the right that you see on a typical Sunday for an Eagles game compared to like every other game. Usually, I know you're probably not going to have a guy bet $200,000 on a half in a game like every single week on some of this stuff. I could be wrong on that.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're certainly going to be taking some 6-figure bets on other games.
Sure.
But just in terms of the volume, the number of tickets that come in, and the volume obviously adds up on these Eagles games. And as you mentioned, they've been good now for several seasons here. So whatever time they're playing, if it's 1 o'clock or 4:30, or if it's a standalone night game, I mean, they're just those games you're going to write more on than any others for the most part. Again, unless you're taking some bigger action on other games with 6-figure bets. But, and also we have to realize and manage that liability in the futures market, not just with the Eagles, but it's really with any Philadelphia or New York team in this market. You're going to have liability that builds up throughout the course of a season. And, right now, when you look at the Super Bowl, the Eagles, we are a small loser to the Eagles for the Super Bowl, but it's really the NFC Championship that we have a much, much higher liability on Philadelphia with. And it certainly didn't help. We took a $100,000 bet on the Eagles to win the NFC back before the season started. So, that obviously has move that liability forward quite a bit, taking that risk on. But, the Super Bowl, for the Super Bowl market, the Eagles aren't like worst case scenario for us. It's, we actually have more liability right now on, say, the Commanders. Yep. And you're always dealing with that liability with the Philadelphia teams.
Well, thanks for popping on today and giving us your perspective from that area, Thomas. We appreciate that.
Oh, yeah, no problem at all, and thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, have a good week. There you go. Thomas Gable, race and sportsbook director over at the Borgata in Atlantic City. And so there you go. On the Eagles-Rams front, the Mateer news.
Oh, God.
Who do you want to grab in the Heisman mix?
Ask me Monday. It's a big game for Moore in Oregon.
Well, what if Oregon go there and they win?
Or they're high scoring and lose a close one, and then they go 11-1.
And he's awesome.
I know.
He was 16-1 at one book earlier today. Still.
Yeah, that's not bad.
I
don't want Nussmeier.
No,
that offense
way.
is broken. I don't know why LSU's in the top 5. How's the Clemson win look now?
Exactly right.
They needed 5 interceptions to beat Florida.
Yep. All right, Paul's going to run down all the big bets that came in last night. Win some, lose some, and I have the NFL beat that was just as nasty as the Rams on Sunday, and it happened in a Super Bowl.
Win Some, Lose Some is sponsored by the Sharp Plays.
Were you a winner last night? Wow, winning. Or was it a rough one?
Well, they can't all be winners, can they?
Loser! You're a loser! Pauly Howard recaps the night in sports betting in Win Some, Lose Some.
Great game on Monday Night Football, 38-30. Montgomery, most rushing, 8-1. $150 on the ground and 2 touchdowns, along with Gibbs. Andrews, most receiving. He got it on the last drive there with the touchdown.
Oh, man.
Did anyone see or have Andrews 2 touchdowns? Utah, give me 2. I didn't see it. But he took, I'll get to the Triple Crown in a second. St. Brown had 7 for 77, and then Andrews with the 27-yard catch finished with 91 yards. Oh.
That many points, and nobody really went crazy last night with the yards in the air.
Right. Gibbs first touchdown plus 650. Here at Circa, Gibbs to score and the Lions win, plus 365. St. Brown touchdown and the Lions win, plus 480. And the Braves have won 9 in a row. Subscribe, be part
They
of
were
the...
very popular on the run line last night, from what I understand.
Yeah, sale and everything. Yeah, they will be tonight, too. Subscribe, be part of the team. vsin.com, our radio and podcast friends. You always want to see these tweets and videos. At Pauly Does Vegas on Instagram. Send them in. I'll put you on. Thanks to all the responses. Find me on Instagram and X. I'll get right back to you. At Pauly Does Vegas. It's happening. It's about time. This was stuck in development for years. But the game changer. According to reports, Leonardo DiCaprio is signed on, along with Adam Driver. It's a prequel and a sequel. They're supposed to shoot next year. Heat 2. Top 10 movie of all time. I loved Heat. I think the guy in the middle, Austin Butler, is going to play Chris.
He's going to be
Val Kilmer's character.
He's going to be Val Kilmer.
I think it starts with something with Chris about how does he get out of there and does he make right? And Driver's playing Neil. And I don't know what DiCaprio's role is going to be, but they was concerned about the Michael Mann.
Well, he's supposed
budget.
to be Pacino, right?
Oh, is he?
That's what I read.
Oh, nice.
I got to be honest. I don't love the cast.
What?
I'm not a big Adam Driver guy.
Oh, come on. He looks just like him.
I don't care. I'm not a big guy. I'm not a big fan of his. Does DiCaprio really have to do this movie?
Well, to get it made, yes. Because
that's the only way it was going to get made.
They were concerned about the budget. Michael Mann had a big budget on this sucker.
All right.
Great. How about
Trust me, I'm super excited. I'll go like when opening weekend because Heat is incredible and somehow underrated.
Yeah, the shootout scene in the street is, I think, a top 10 scene too. One battle after another. You mentioned how the critics love this and everyone thinks it's one of the best movies of all time. Also DiCaprio. This went from what, 16-1 to -$2 to win Best Picture?
Well, when Luke was checking, I think it was only a couple of days ago, it was 10-1. And now, see you later. Odds-on favorite.
Yep. Got to get a dog video in here. Have to. This guy does this all the time, right? He comes out of the pool, goes back in, on the diving board. Got it? And...
Does he actually move?
Okay, cannonball! Right. You got it. That's his move.
And then he just keeps rinse and repeat here,
right.
Huh?
Yeah, doesn't jump right back in. He's got to get back on the diving board to do it. And he goes in that way. And that's what he does every day at the pool. That's awesome. Very good. You're not going to see this one every day. How about a carrot drive-through for the cows? Coming on in. Yeah, sure. Everyone eats. They get fed here. Come on, peekaboo. Peek your head in. Come on in. Sure. Yeah, a little snack. Take the edge off.
It's like a farmhouse or something?
I don't know what it is. I'd like to see it. You always see this with dogs when the ice cream man pulls up and they're waiting and they get the ice cream.
Oh, this is excellent.
Yeah. The cows coming in with the carrots in the drive-thru. Just peek their head right in. Feed me.
Oh, they're popping carrots like we do chicken nuggets.
That's right. Want to lose some? Fred Van Vliet tore his ACL, likely out for the season. What a blow for the Rockets.
Do you want a little...
And he signed a team-friendly deal
I know.
And left a ton of cash on the table.
You want a little Mavericks to win that division? They're plus 950 today. Best number I could find.
Uh-huh. Interesting.
They were, I think, 20-1 in the offseason.
Uh-huh. Okay. Not bad. And lose some, you set this up. This is great.
Okay,
you sent this in. All right.
So Sebastian was, I don't know if we have the audio on this or not, but he turned 17 months yesterday. So he loves ice cubes and he loves popsicles. So this is him yesterday eating a watermelon popsicle, and he's really getting after it, right? Like taking big chunks of it, ripping it off. Come on, I need to eat more.
Yeah.
And so watch right here, but brain freeze, right there. And so this is right after, and then he's laughing because we're laughing, and so he kept going with it. And so at one point, Pauly, it's hitting him so hard that he's like, it's hurting his brain. He's like, like this. But then he goes right back to the popsicle.
Brain freeze.
We are dying at the house. I'm like, Lorraine, you got to get the phone. You got to get this. And he keeps doing it. I've watched this video like 50 times.
Yeah. Man.
It hits him. There it is, pal.
Yeah, it hits him. The brain freeze. Yeah. That's good.
Oh, what a
awesome.
cute. Oh, I love that kid, man.
Put some clothes on the kid. This is one of your swing joints.
Jesus. He's eating a popsicle. So that's part of the deal.
That's great.
Yeah.
Good job. Yeah, they got a mess. A bad beat. The Triple Crown. It was going to be Jackson passing, Montgomery rushing, and St. Brown receiving. It was 60-1 at DraftKings. But Andrew's final catch changed that. I couldn't even see a price on it. That thing was so big. Before the line moves, sharp plays are already there. They don't just follow the market, they help move it. Jeff and the crew do a great job. They're back with the Mr. Poison updates, who had a tough go of it Sunday in the NFL. You remember the T-shirts? And with Follow the Money since day one, free betting reports, real-time alerts, market moving insights straight to your inbox or X feed, documented results, public logs, transparent receipts, sharpplays.com. Trusted by the pros, watched by the books. Visit sharpplays.com and stay ahead of the line.
All right, so I'm watching Monday Night Football last night. Doug Kazarian, been on this network several times. John Murray over at the Westgate. We were all watching at a local spot together last night. Good times as always. And we were kicking around just how bad the Rams beat was on Sunday. And like what really compares to it. They brought up a game. Billy Walters was on this huge. And it was a Super Bowl. Do you want to guess before I tell you? And I still think the Rams beat is worse. But this is a really good comp. This is the closest one I've heard so far.
Billy Walters was on it.
Yeah, big
Super Bowl
bet.
beat. A Super Bowl beat.
Yeah, good. This is a good. It was not Falcons money line.
Oh, okay.
Up 28-3.
Yeah, that was third quarter.
He may have been on him in that game. I don't remember.
Okay, no, that would have been my guess.
Here's the beat. Cardinals, Steelers, first half Arizona plus 3.5.
He had a huge bet on first half?
Massive bet, first half plus 3.5. And he had him for the game, so that was a winner.
10-7 Cardinals inside the 5. Or 10-7 Steelers.
Steelers up
inside
by
the
3.
5.
He's catching the hook. It's like the final 20 seconds of the game.
Oh, my God.
They're inside the 5.
James Harris.
And he throws that pick. And by the way, that's not like a pick that he throws it across the body. It's a one-on-one. A guy comes across. He reads it, and boom, he's gone. That was across the middle.
He broke like 10 tackles.
Yes, and then here's Larry Fitzgerald
guy,
trying to like navigate his way through the sideline. Hey, get out of it. Beep, beep, guys. I'm trying to tackle this guy before he gets to the end zone.
Yeah.
Then he finally catches him, tackles him. Is he in? Is he, touchdown.
That's a good one.
Paul.
Do you need a pick 6 to beat you?
That's the only way.
They're inside the 5-yard line. It's 10-7.
And as DK was saying, you do not have to score in that spot. You're covering. You're golden. They could take a knee. They could miss the field goal, whatever it is.
The interception's okay. They just can't have the pick 6. And it's Harrison, of all people.
Because Doug was throwing out, and I'm shooting him down stop, Doug. That's not even close. What are you talking about? Then he brings up this one. I'm like, hey, you might be onto something here.
Billy Walters, it was huge first half?
Yeah. They were, yeah.
Oh, wow.
I mean.
Oh, that's bad.
Right? But I still think Rams was worse.
Really?
Oh, I do, because they
needed a 12-team parlay to cash them.
As I ran down everything that happened with their missed opportunities on those drives and how deep they were inside Philadelphia territory, they easily, I'm being conservative here, folks, they could have been up 38-7. Easily 38-7.
Yep.
Maybe even more than that.
Yep. Good feedback on Mateer in Oklahoma. They have a bye. Then they play Kent State. That's another bye. Then they play Texas. Is there a big difference between Arch and Underwood? Can they win a low-scoring game with Hawkins? Then they go to South Carolina. Well, they can survive that. They can get it. They can go 2-1 there, and then you get Ole Miss. Well, God, this schedule at Tennessee, at Bama, Missouri, LSU. Oh, but I think the committee would take that into consideration, though, too. Like with that schedule, with your last 7 games against ranked opponents, or 6 of 7. And if you lose 3 games, hell, maybe even 4, and there's chaos around the country, say, hey, but we didn't have this guy for 2 big games.
Okay, here's a bet. If it's on the screen right now, it's not crossed off, I would search for this. If that game of the year is still up, Oklahoma and Texas, again, books, maybe this screen might be late to updating here, so I will point this out. If there is still a total of 56.5 on that game, you must bet the under.
Yes.
I don't have access to these books here in Nevada.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But search for that. If you find 56.5, you got to bet the under on principle. I don't know if it's still up. Screen says it is. I don't know. Sometimes it's not always accurate. Mm-hmm. That's my biggest takeaway.
Yep.
Can they beat that? The Texas defense is really good.
Yeah, that's going to be a problem.
The backup can't throw the football.
No, he can't.
For Oklahoma. Up next, we will pay tribute to someone in the sports betting community who was somehow loved by everybody. That's next on Follow the Money. It's VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.